It's time for me to start working on the door that goes at the back of the vehicle. And I've figured out my rough opening and decided to make a Dutch door. So the top half here will sort of be where the bed is, and that will be able to open up separately. So if there's a nice cool summer breeze or something like that, I can just have that open. And then the bottom half will also open independently so that I have access to the garage space. If I need to get something out of there, if I need to change my propane or something like that, and it's raining hard and water's coming in here, I don't want it getting on my bed. So basically I can just open up the bottom half, do what I need, leave the top half alone. To make that door, I'm going to use this big sheet of plywood here. This plywood came from the bed that was in the back of the van originally, and it's quite a nice piece, pretty straight, so it'll make a good basis to start this door from. Okay, the top board is cut out, and we're looking at it as we would from the front. And I want to mount this piece of stained glass right here up near the top because I think it's a really cool piece and I want to use it. So I'm just working out a design that will make that look good. So I've just marked out a space for the window here, and I'm going to cut this out so that you'll actually be able to use it. So I've just cut out that hole with the jigsaw here, and I'm going to route out a lip here so that I can recess this window down. So here the window is recessed into the wood, and if I just pop it out like that, you can see the routed groove that it sits on. So I've just cut out a second board here to go for the bottom, and that part there will go beneath the bed. So I was a bit of an idiot and I completely miscalculated the height of the door. So I've cut this piece here that will go on like this. The bottom door will, it won't be quite as strong as it otherwise would have been, but it should still work with the plans that I have for the door. Because I'm planning on painting this door, there are some advantages to that. I can use materials that don't go together, and I can also use plywood that will be painted over because that'll look just fine. This part here where I'm splicing it together, again, that can be covered up because I'm painting the door. These ones here, I think they're called rails and stiles in the door. I might be wrong about that, but basically these are going to be the trim. They're 5.5 inches, and I just ripped them down on the table saw. Okay, so I've just taken this bottom rail here, put some wood glue on it, and that means that I should be able to put it down right here. I've just joined the two pieces together with wood glue, and I've just clamped them together like that. So I've also clamped down this rail here, and I'm going to put some nails in to keep it fully secured. However, my nails are longer than these two boards, which is fine because they'll end up going into another set of boards, which are down here. But I'm just not going to nail them all the way in so that when I do the other side, I can still get every piece positioned properly. Okay, so I've added a second rail right here, going along the top, that matches the one here at the bottom. So I've added 2 vertical rails on either side. I've added the 2 horizontal rails to the top side of the door as well. So these 2 halves of the board are now matching in that they both have horizontal and vertical rails. Okay, so I've just flipped the door over so that I'm now looking at the inside, and I'm going to duplicate the pattern on the outside. So you're looking at this part of the door upside down. It's the mirror image of the reverse side. Basically, did everything exactly the same on this side. And if I flip it over, you can see that all those nails have been nailed down. So now both sides are glued and nailed together. Portions of these boards are uneven, so I've just filled in any gaps and cracks with wood filler. Another progress update here. I finished putting the framing onto the other side for the top portion of the door. And then I've also started to prime the railing on the bottom. So I'm painting the frame of the door blue, the same color that I'm using throughout the van. So I was just doing a little bit of a test fitting here, and I'm very discouraged basically I didn't think about something. And that is that this door up here interferes with the window and the door that I designed. So I came up with a solution. It seems like it's going to be the best one in the circumstances, and that's just to cut down the door. I have to cut down the top portion of the door, and I think 3.5 inches is all I need to do it by. So in some ways, I was very lucky at the timing of when I found out I needed to cut down this door, because I haven't filled in this area here yet, and I was halfway through painting this top portion blue. Basically, what this means is I'm going to try and take off these boards down at the bottom, and then cut 3.5 inches off the door and the side rails, and then reattach these. And it might be really easy, it might be really hard, but that's the plan. Well, the glue that's holding this on is really, really strong, but I did get it off, so that is a good sign. So I'm going to try and flip it over, try and get the other rail off, and go from there. So this is where we're at, and I've basically filled in some gaps that needed to be filled with wood filler. So basically, back to where I was before everything went wrong. Okay, so I've just made a little bit of a window frame here, and I'm clamping it down in place. And then I'm going to cut some of the boards that I used on the ceiling, some of the scrap, to make a pattern in the rest of this space. So I've just been doing a little bit of testing, and I think that this is sort of the pattern that I'm going to go for, are these sort of overlapping boards that form sort of like a pyramid shape. So I've just cut 2 of them, and then this bit here sort of filling in. And I think it's going to work out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some more boards and see what that looks like. Okay, so I've come up with a little bit of a concept here for how this pattern is going to go. Basically, I'm going to keep overlapping boards in this diamond shape till I fill this frame. Okay, here's a bit of an update on how this is coming along. It's getting to the point where some of the cuts are really tricky and it's getting to be a really tight fit, but I think it looks really cool. Okay, here's the door fully paneled in on this side. I think it looks absolutely amazing. One problem. I don't have very many left of these boards. It would be really nice for the inside to have this paneling because it will match the ceiling. So I'm thinking that this will be the inside of the door. I'm going to try and do a panel for the bottom portion of the door. If I can, I mean that's good. If I can get both panels done, then that might be the outside. Like if I can get one panel of this done with these boards and the other side of this, then the outside can look like this, and the inside of the garage portion of the door can look like whatever. But I'm really happy with this. This looks fantastic. Okay, so I've just put some 1-inch finishing nails here into each board, and around the edge they form a border. And then down the middle here, it's just at the end of each board. So it's pretty subtle, and it does sort of keep with the pattern, which is just great for what I want. So I've come a long way on the opposite side here, and I'm getting to the point where I'm wanting to install the glass into the window here, and that's just because these framing bits that go around it are getting really, really tight, and I'm not sure when all of the pieces are fully in whether I'll be able to get them out or not. So I'm going to put the window in, and I'm going to put some stretch sealant here on it when I do that, and then hopefully that works. Okay, so I've just put a bead like that around, and I'm going to put the glass right on top of that. And that's the glass put in place there. So now I can go ahead and put in the framing permanently around it. So I've got this framed in now. It's not quite perfect, like this bit of copper comes out further than this bit here, and there's no bit at the bottom, but I'm still happy with it. I think it looks really cool. Such a beautiful piece of glass. So I've finished the top of the door. I've got all the boards in place, the glass is in place. I've just got a few more details that I need to do, like polyurethaning this side and running a bead of caulk around on this inside here.
Snow is coming in to the garage and landing on the side here, which is drying with polyurethane. It's not supposed to snow anymore. It's spring. Go away. Okay, so I've just started on the bottom half of the door, And this is going to be so much easier. I'm so much looking forward to just being able to do this and not have to notch around a window or anything like that.
I love how this almost looks like a mountain in this direction. It's coming along really nicely. It's going to look great. So I finished the paneling on the bottom here, and it looks really great. Matches the top perfectly. They're just glued in right now because the nails that I bought, I was planning on, let me see if I can show you this. These boards are actually taller than these rail boards, and it was supposed to be the other way around, but I just didn't think about it. I wasn't originally going to use these boards. So the nails that I bought for making the door aren't thick enough to go through these boards properly and get a good hold. So, yeah, I'm like you can see here, like just the glue isn't going to be enough. So I'm going to have to get some proper nails to nail the boards in place before I do the other side. I put one coat of polyurethane on here, and it is looking amazing. Of course, I'm going to do more because you want to layer that. But, oh man, it looks so good.
You can see the gloss on here as the polyurethane is drying.
This is the back of the bottom portion of the door. This is going to be under the garage, and I don't have enough boards to fill it in with that pattern on the inside here.
I ran out of usable hemlock boards, so I'm just painting the back of this blue, and I'm not going to worry about thickness or anything like that. This is the inside where you'll never see it underneath of the bed. When it's opened up, you'll be able to see it, obviously, but just like this.
So to make the door jamb, I've just cut down some 1x6 stock. These are the boards that I've got here. 2 for the sides, 1 for the top. And I just need to rip it down to fit the thickness of my walls now. I've just screwed some pocket holes at the top here for the vertical members so that I can connect it to the top beam.
Okay, so I've screwed the jamb together, and now I'm going to have to find some way of getting it up into that frame there.
Okay, so the door jamb is now slotted in place here, and it's just held in place with friction for now, and I'll probably tack it in place while I'm working on getting the door hung. I've just taken it apart here for a second to cut out notches. Basically, I need to be able to fit this by the framing for the bed. Doing this bed first caused so many problems. I've just used a router to make some grooves here for the hinges and then screwed in some pilot holes. So I'm just doing some testing here with the door, and it looks like I'm going to have to trim it down a little bit. I've cut down the door by 1/8 of an inch, and hopefully that's enough on the hinge side. And then I've just made some holes here to put the hinges in. These, unfortunately, the hinges are the same width as the door. I bought regular door hinges, and this is a thinner than normal door. So that's a bit of just a flaw that I'll have to live with. I've just screwed the hinges to the door. So with much fuss and finagling, me and my father were able to hang the top portion of the Dutch door. It's a very tight fit, and it's just held in place with friction at the moment, which is fine. I'll be putting a latch on the inside at some point, but now it's time for me to try and work on doing the same for the bottom half. Okay, so this is sort of an idea of what this is going to look like, but I think I made another mistake. This seems like a really big gap to me. I can't really show you what it looks like, but it's significant. Like, this is sitting on the ground, but it's only up by 1.5 inches here, so I may have to make some changes and add something onto the bottom of the door or something, because this is not ideal. This is what the door looks like. I've got the bottom half in now, and whoa! Yeah, we've got a lot of wind right now, and it's causing problems. This does give me an opportunity to show you the door from the inside, though. As you can see on this side, I ran out of the paneling, right? So it's just going to look like that. But that's okay, because I actually think I might want to mount things on here, because this is just going to be the garage door, right? So it can open separately from the top, like so, right? So this is probably how the door will be used most of the time, and since this is a garage space under here, it might be nice to have some tools or some netting or something on that portion. So I started to install this gate latch, but I've stopped at this point because I can't do it without the trim in place, and it's looking like it's going to take some careful trimming on both sides to make it actually keep the door shut. So I'm going to move on to other hardware. I'm going to try installing this ball latch here for the top portion of the door. This is inserted into the door itself, and then this strike plate goes on the jamb. Well, I've done a bit of a hack job on mortising out this hole here, but it should still work. This slots right in like that. Okay, that's screwed in place now. That is, oh man, that's really tough. Hopefully this works. Okay, so I've just put in the little catch here, and that's been mortised in as well. So I'm going to test to see if this actually works. All right, these two should line up. And it does nothing. Okay, so I just bumped this back a little bit. It's on an angle now, but it does work. It's just the way that the holes for the screws went in, they kind of force it to go back this way. But now when I close this, you can see that one there. And it actually stops the door flush with this framing, which is exactly what I needed. So I took off the gate hinge here. I don't think I'm going to go with it. I think I'm going to get another one of these, and then what I'll do is I'll get like a proper lock. It occurred to me that just the way the gate hinge was done, you could just unscrew it when there was a lock in it, and this ball thing works just fine. Okay, so on the bottom portion here, the garage door, I've put this little lock here. This isn't on yet. It will go on when the trim goes on. But basically this means that I can put a padlock on this portion, because this is only ever going to be open from the outside, so it needs to lock from the outside. And then this is one of those ones where it covers up the screws on both sides, so you can't just take it off with a screwdriver. You'd need like a pry bar or something like that. You know, like this isn't going to keep... If someone really wants to get past this lock, they can, but it's just there as, you know, another layer of deterrent. Two new additions to the door hardware here. I just put in some handles so that I'm able to actually open up the doors if I need to. Because, you know, it's all very good when they just slide open, but once the latches are in, you want to have something nice to hold on to. Okay, so the hardware on this side of the door is finally finished. I've got another one of these little ball latches in here. This one works even better than the one on the top. It's great. Just goes straight in like that. And then obviously I'd want to have this locked when I was riding around in the car so that this is secure and won't just do that if I hit a bump or something. So here on this side of the door you can see it's a little bit uneven, but you can still see all these cracks, and that's what I need to fill. So I need to install a bit of a door stop with a weather strip, much like I did for the window along the edges here of the door. To make this door stop, I'm just using the cut-off edges of these boards here for the door jamb that were left over when I trimmed it down, basically. And then I've got this weather stripping that'll go down the sides here. I don't think I have enough to do the top with this stuff. Basically, I just got to roll this stuff, 10 feet of it for $1 at a local used store. So I'm going to use this as much as I can for sure. So right here is that little bit of rubber stripping here. And this part here has actually been screwed straight in. So this is in its final position. So if I take this, close it, start up against it. So both of these closing vertical strips are in, and I've also added in a lock up here. This is so that the door will stay closed. It locks on the inside. It is, and I moved the handle onto the inside, by the way. That's solid. It's not going anywhere. The reason why I moved this handle onto the inside is I only have two for now. I'll buy another one to replace and fill in the holes on the other side, but just I needed to be able to open and close this door from the inside, so now that is set up like that. I've added in the top plate here for the door stop, like so. So because I'm on such a steep angle here, these doors kept flying open. So what I've just done to solve that is I've basically just screwed this in with two screws here. will have to be come off when I put the trim on, but for now, doing that will stop the door from flying open when it's unwanted. Hello.
Hi.
So that's all for today's video. There's a little bit more that does need to be done with the door. I still need to add in some of the rubber weather stripping here, and then down at the bottom there's a large gap that needs dealing with. But this will be all for today's episode. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.